I know. Controversial title. What is that possibly about? Well, my friends, it's not going to last long when it comes to the surprise or the secret, because there is no secret about this title. I'm talking about that thing that happened once upon a time called Series 7 of Doctor Who and New Who. And, well, what can be said about this series? Well, it is hailed as a monstrosity. Actually, let's see if I can find every other word that is concocted for this season. This season, or series, is hailed as, let's see, I'm going to think of all the words. Again, I'm thinking of the words. And it is, well, it's a teeming bile duct of horribleness, of mediocrity at its worst, of just the sadness or the deliberate attempt of Doctor Who to get really bad and want to cancel itself, of being a degradation to humanity, of being an insult to anyone's intelligence, of being the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, of being insanity gone wild, of being a head writer losing his cool even more than he possibly ever lost his cool, of being just, well, Jack's raging bile duct. I think I covered every single possible phrase a lot of Whovians have thought about this series. My reaction, I find Series 7 to be, for lack of better terminology, the porn of new Doctor Who. And if you're thinking that is a vulgar phrase, a very vulgar thing to say, especially put into your title of your video, one thing I shall say first, lighten up. And number two, I shall say, well, my friends, I call Series 7 the porn of Doctor Who because it's a season that people act like they act like it doesn't want to, they want to act like it doesn't exist. Or they don't talk about it. They kind of keep it hidden in the back of their mind or in the bottom of their drawer and act like it does not exist. Or they call it a monstrosity of many things. But they all secretly watch it. In some form or another, many people secretly watch Series 7, but you just act like you don't. I know you're there. You act like you don't watch this, what you call a monstrosity, but you know, every now and again, you pull this secretly out of your DVD collection. You slip it into the slot. You close that DVD player, and you watch it. I know you're there. I know you are there. And guys, I'm here to tell you, children of mediocrity, I absolve you. Guys, it's okay to like some episodes from Series 7. It's, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. It's okay. You are not a crime against humanity for liking some aspects or even many aspects of Series 7. You're just not. Everyone has their guilty pleasures. I know I do. I know I do. And let's analyze this season in full. I blatantly admit, as a season, this series does not work. Overall, it feels like it's two series, lumped into one. And I can't even blame Moffat for that because I found out that, or to all the information I've gathered, Moffat does not actually make the scheduling to his shows at all. BBC is the one who makes the scheduling, and Moffat just has to write episodes around the schedule they give him. He even asked them, please don't schedule it in this way, and they still would do it anyway. That's all the information I gathered. If you have figured out something else completely different, you can tell me in the comment section below. But all the information I gathered, Moffat does not actually make the schedules to how the seasons go down and when they are placed in the time of the year. But I could be wrong. If you have any more evidence, you can always let me know in the comment section. Okay, but here's the thing. Even though as a full season, this feels disjointed, uneven, etc. and so forth, despite this, I found that when you dissect this season, like when you strip it apart and you watch certain episodes individually, not looking at it as a whole, just for that particular episode, you can have fun watching this season. You really can. Let's start with the first episode, The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Okay, I admit that is just pure crap. I admit, The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe is pure crap, but it has one very good redeeming quality. The mother, Madge Orwell, she is such a great character. God, I love that character. And I'm not going to lie, one time I did watch The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. At the end of it, when she brought her husband back, I teared up. I'm not going to lie, it could possibly be that I was hormonal that time, but I did tear up. I can't deny that. So if you do like that story, that Christmas story, I'm not going to judge you. That's your thing. I'm not going to judge you at all. Madge Orwell's a great character. The Doctor has some good moments in there. We use a beautiful quote here and there. And then we get the ponds back there at the end. And then, again, that they're all united. And she's like to her husband, "It's Christmas. Where else should you be?" Oh my God. Go, Madge. I love you, Madge. And then she says to her husband, "It's just a doctor going back into the time vortex. I've been there. It's a lovely place." My God, I love you, Madge. Then you have Asylum of the Daleks, which is a story that many people hate. Okay. But mostly they hate about it is the drama that happens between Amy and Rory. But the same people who hate that drama are okay with even more drama happening in the first 2, 3, or 4 seasons of New Who, where there was way more drama than was happening in this episode. So I'm like, you know what? If you can stand watching the Doctor in the middle of teenage love triangles like he was in the first 2 years of the show at some points, then you know what? You have to forgive me for not hating this Amy and Rory, situation too much. I know it's annoying, but I'm like, you're the same ones who are okay with 2 full seasons of the Doctor in a love triangle, so you can't begrudge me for not hating this, if you're okay with that. And with Asylum of the Daleks, okay, this is a very weird one for me. When I first saw it, I didn't know what to think about it. Over time, I grew to not like it. Then I watched it again after a long time of not seeing it, and I liked a lot of elements to it. It's hard to explain with this one. It can go any... If you love this story, Asylum of the Daleks, fine. You hate it, fine. It makes perfect sense. I do admit I will always have a soft spot for it because it ended up inspiring me to write one of my favorite of my fan fiction stories, The Name of the Dalek. And because of Asylum of the Daleks, I created The Name of the Dalek. It's one of my favorite of my stories, so I'm not upset about, there are some good things that have happened because of that story. Then we have Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Okay. I know some people who love this story. Some people who hate this story. Like it is with Asylum of the Daleks, you are both right. Because Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, you can consider it very dumb, but on the other hand, by God is it fun. It has a little bit of everything. It's got dinosaurs on a spaceship. It's got, John Riddle and Nefertiti there with Amy and Rory. The Doctor has a gang. Yes! And then you have this ruthless villain who the Doctor has no problem just blowing up. And for those of you who think that's uncharacteristic of the Doctor, I'm going to refresh your memory. This is no different than what the Doctor did in The Dominators or in Ribos Operation and many other times where he did kill the villain at the very end. I don't know what you're forgetting. And definitely no different than when the Doctor killed all the Rachnos children in The Runaway Bride. Get that out of your brains now. Get that idea of the 11th Doctor being ruthless out of your brains. The Doctor is like that sometimes. Many incarnations did stuff like that. Seriously. But dinosaurs on a spaceship. I'm not gonna lie. One of another bit of fan fiction I wrote was called Doomsday Destroyed, and also The Letters, where I had Nefertiti and John Riddle came back, and they were part of the story, and I had so much fun writing those guys. They were so fun. So again, I owe a lot to that story. Then we have the next episode, A Town Called Mercy. Somebody described this episode very well. They said when they first saw the episode, they hated it. Then they saw it again, and they loved it. The gunslinger was so cool. And again, whether you love or hate that story, the gunslinger, I want to say his name's Kalatek. He is so well designed, and what a good character he really is. He reminds me of a touch of V for Vendetta in Doctor Who. And if you hate the story, A Town Called Mercy, that's fine. I understand why. But if you love it, it's okay. There's a reason why. Kalatek is just a darn good character. If his name is Kalatek. Sorry, the gunslinger. He's cool. Then we get The Power of Three. Someone described this episode very well, where they said, can I possibly, when it came to top 10 best stories, they said, is there any way I'm allowed to count the first, 35 minutes of this episode and, not count, the last 10 minutes? Because the first 35 minutes are awesome. The last 10 minutes suck. And I see what they mean. I have so much fun watching the first 35 or 36 or 37 minutes up until the reveal of the villain in the story. And you know what? I do have fun. And honestly, if you're like me, you love Rory's dad, Brian. I love Brian. Same from dinosaurs on a spaceship to the power of three. I love you, Brian. I love you, Brian Williams. I love you. I love you so much. Then we have the Angels in Manhattan, or the Angels Take Manhattan. Oh God, I'm forgetting that right now. The Angels Take Manhattan. Sorry about that slip of the mind. Okay, I understand why some people get teared up at this one. Some people think this is the worst story of the Weeping Angels. And again, you're both right. I see why people get tear up at the end of this. I see why people are devastated when Amy and Rory they leave and they're gone. I understand why. And that scene where Amy and Rory jumped off the building together. By God. Sorry. Yes. Exactly. That gets to me too. It gets to me too. Raggedy Man. Goodbye. But I understand why people think it's the worst of the Weeping Angels stories. I understand all these things. It's one of those things where, it sucks, but at the same time, it doesn't. That's Series 7 in a nutshell. It sucks, but it also doesn't. All down to your perspective. Then we have the end of, I believe, Series 7A. Then we get to Series 7B, where we have the next Christmas special, The Snowmen. I know some people think this is a very bad story. Some people think it's the best of the Christmas specials. You're both right. I freaking love The Snowmen. It's perhaps one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Christmas special. I have no problem admitting that. I love the Doctor and that Clara together. That's my favorite echo of Clara, or my favorite incarnation of Clara. She is wonderful. Clara Oswin Oswald. And I like the Paternoster gang. I'm not ashamed to admit I like the Paternoster gang. And I'm happy they show up later on in the series. And then we have The Bells of St. John. Again, I have seen this get on some top 10 favorite, 11 Doctor Who stories, or favorite, Doctor Who list of episodes. I've seen it get into some worse ones. And again, you're both right. I understand why people don't like it, but by God, do I have I have fun watching The Bells of St. John. I just do. I never stop having fun watching it. I admit, if you don't like it, you have a point. Why I understand why you don't like it, but I enjoy it a great deal, so very much. It's fun. Doctor riding up the Shard is so fun. Him being a monk, and then all of a sudden now he's knocking on Clara's door, or ringing her doorbell. I like all that stuff, and then now they're in an airplane. It shows the full gambit of what can happen in a Doctor Who story for me. Then you have The Rings of Akaton. Again, I've seen this get on top 10 lists of best and worst. I just love how polarizing this season is. Some people think it's a terrible story. Others think it's awesome. It's a beautiful story. I get you both. I totally get you both. It can be awesome. It can be bad. For me, it's beautiful. And when the Doctor gets that speech, I rewind it every time I watch it once. I have to rewind it again and watch it again, because just seeing Matt Smith belt at that fireball is just absolutely gorgeous. And for those who think it's just stupid because no one realized that the Doctor extinguished their sun, first of all, you're the same people who had no qualms with the Doctor burning up a sun to say goodbye to Rose Tyler in Doomsday, number one. And number two, no, he didn't. That planet, or that fireball, was not their sun. They were too close to it for it to be a sun. Because if they were that close to it, then they'd be in the sun's gravitational pull. And then that Akaton and all that would have been melted, would have molded into the sun, and the sun would have melted it. Planets, or anything that circles a planet, circles the sun. Planets have to be away from a sun from a certain degree, because the sun has electromagnetic power and energy. It gravitates things towards it. That's why you orbit a sun. So those people who think it's stupid because the Doctor burned out their sun, no, he didn't. The fireball was not their sun. Simple science. Okay. Then we have, after that, we got Cold War. Some people hate this story. Some people think it's underrated. I get you both. When I first saw it, I did not like it. Then I saw it again, did not like it. Then I watched it a third time, and it began to grow on me. Then I saw in Classic Who, The Ice Warriors and the Seeds of Death. Then I went back and watched this, Because I now know the history of the Ice Warriors, Cold War scared the crap out of me. Oh, dear Lord, I enjoyed it. And we're in this nice enclosed environment, and and that's what I like about Cold War. It shows, the TARDIS lands in a certain place, and it stays there for the entire adventure. And it shows how every now and again the Doctor in 11th Doctor era can have a story in one place at one time. But I like Cold War. I admit I hate when I like the reveal of the Ice Warrior's head, but I'm mad that they did CGI. It's like, just put someone in a makeup. I don't know why they didn't do that. Unless I'm wrong, and it was just bad makeup. But it was that was the only problem about the story I just hated. Okay, then we get Hyde. Okay. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. And I'm not gonna lie, yes, I brought back Emma Grayling and Alec and Hilda Corin for my previous fanfiction story I just wrote, and it was awesome. Those guys are so fun to write. I love them. But Hyde, I just think is such a great story. Again, the TARDIS landing in one spot, and yes, it keeps leaving, but it stays in that exact same spot pretty much the entire time. It just changes time. I like that idea. I like it very much. Go, Neil Cross. And then we get Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. I've seen this get on many top 10 worst list of Doctor Who, but every now and again I get that one person who thinks it's very creative, they love it, and they think it's a little underrated and overlooked. I agree with you. Those people who hate it, I see why you hate it. But I love a story every now and again where it's unity of time, place, and action. Where it's unity of the situation, the Doctor and companion stay there, and all the action happens in that one spot. And I like that it's all confined to the TARDIS. And I like what the Doctor and Clara kind of realize about each other and discover about each other at the end. And when he says, "You won't go looking for my name," I just like what it does to their relationship there. How it pushes them to the edge in some ways. I like that. I know some people think the brothers are pointless being in there, but the brothers are the main part. Okay, if you like the brothers or not, here's the thing. They are the ones who make the plot up. They are the reason the crisis is happening, so you can't remove them from the story or the crisis wouldn't happen. Then, unless my counting is off, we are now at the Crimson Horror. Another one of my favorite stories. I've seen this get on top 10 worst lists, but I've seen it get on top 10 best lists. Because it deserves it. It's such a creative story. And if Mark Gatiss did write this, I could be wrong. I think it's a very good story, and I love seeing the Paternoster Gang again. I love it. But it also, the repulsive Red Leech and Madame Gillyflower, what a unique villain. And she and her daughter, Ava, that was a mother and daughter, and they both gave great performances. I know we've all seen the Madame Gillyflower before, from Game of Thrones to Painted Veil to The Avengers. She's a popular actress, actually. And she was quite the babe when she was younger. Either way, yes, but Crimson Horror. I just think it's very underrated. I love it. Then we get Nightmare in Silver, which I have no problem admitting is kind of crappy. I know it's crappy, yet for some reason I still watch it sometimes. I can't explain it. There's just something about it. It's just so bizarre that I can watch it, and I can somehow enjoy it sometimes. I can't explain why, but those people who hate this story, you have every reason to. Those people who like this story, you have every reason to. It's a polarizing story to a polarizing season. And then we have the last story, The Name of the Doctor. And I've seen this get on, not any worse, well, a couple worse lists, but I've seen it be, every now and again, people are like, yeah, I actually like this story. And honestly, I agree with you. There's just something about The Name of the Doctor I find very sweet. Very, adorable. And, it doesn't feel too over the top to me. Some of those finales feel so like they're trying to be over the top to show how large they are. They don't make any sense. And I know some people are mad at Clara for being a plot device, but for me, it's like, okay, she's not the first companion to be a plot device, she's a third. And if you guys were okay with those finales in the R2D era, where there were two companions which used as plot devices and Deus Ex Machinas at the end of that story, and you were not upset with it, you can't hate me. You can't say I'm being terrible for liking this, being okay with this one over here. If you're okay with that, if you're okay with the end with Parting of the Ways, if you're okay with Journey's End, no, you can't. You cannot judge us for liking The Name of the Doctor. You just can't. They're plot devices all around. But yes, that is the season in a nutshell for me. It's a season where a lot of people, oh God, hate. But secretly, there's that one story, or those two stories, or those 5 or 6 stories you know you like when you isolate it from the season and just watch it for that story. It's okay. I'm here to tell you, guys, it's okay. You are not crazy. It's just the way life is. Guilty pleasures happen. Don't be ashamed. And if you have that one episode from Series 7 you like, don't be afraid to shout out what it is below. If you have those 2 stories or 5 stories from Series 7 you like, let me know down below. Don't be ashamed. And if you are a person who hates every single aspect of Series 7, don't be afraid. You can let me know down below too. Just don't judge or ridicule others because they do like it. You can shout how much you hate it. That's fine, but just forgive us who have our guilty pleasure moments and understand us and understand that you do it too. You do it too. And, well, remember that line from the movie The Commitments where they said, what are the Irish or the black people of Europe? Well, I'm going to give you something a bit similar to that. I shall give you something a bit similar to that. People who watch Series 7 are the black people of Doctor Who. And those people who kind of like a bit of Series 7 are the black people of Series 7 watchers. And those people who like Series 7B are the black people of those fans. So say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And sorry for my, dear Irish people, sorry for my terrible Irish accent. And if you are a black person who hates Series 7, I'm sorry for lumping us all together. I just love that quote. Because it's The Commitments. I love that quote. Love it. I've always wanted to do that quote. I've always wanted to. So yes, guys, that's my video of Series 7, the porn of Doctor Who. And again, if you are offended by my vulgar speech, my God, lighten up. Just saying, it's okay to have a funny bone. It's the season that everyone says they really, really hate, but secretly, there's parts of it you know you enjoy. So you hide it like your secret shame, like your stash. We all have a stash. It's okay. Children of mediocrity, I absolve you. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Hope to see you guys again very soon. Over and out. Peace out, guys.